Oh no. Oh no, starting off with this. ReZero season 3 episode 5. And what else would it be? What else would be important? What is a virgin? Is that an olive oil? She has no idea. Oh, that's a huge relief. For a second there I was concerned he was a lowlife, but he's not. Oh no, Amelia, oh no. It's frustrating. It's rude, actually. Yeah, is that an olive oil? Oh no, she accidentally gave the answer he wanted. Oh, okay, now I'm also lost. He included the number. Where are the other 78 ones? Oh, there's one of them? Oh, she looks done with it. Wait, what? These numbers are not in order. Okay, 79 living wives? That's the only way she could be 184 and he has 79. And it's just plot twist after plot twist with this guy. And also some interesting philosophical questions like, what is the value of a human's virgin soul? And what is a human's virgin soul? This is like a really instinctually great scene. Amelia is so warm and generous and innocent in some ways. She's gotta be so horribly confused, but then she's just kind of happy he's happy for now. It's not stupidity, because she's very smart. It's just like naivety and like unworldliness. So she will figure out when this crosses a line. But it's that sort of innocence that plays to the romantic or relationship nature for maybe both Subaru and Regulus, but in different ways. If you're someone like Regulus, this kind of naivety, the innocence is exciting because it's something you can easily take advantage of and abuse. But if you're a virtuous person, your goal seeing this is to be the defender of that thing. Because the spiting of that thing is not only evil, but it probably is one of the biggest creators of evil. Betraying someone's goodness in anything takes the goodness off the table as something that they can offer, provide. If you show someone mercy and they stab you in the back, you're like, well, I guess I just can't show mercy anymore. If a child loves you and is coming to you to give you a hug and you smack him in the face, that child comes away with the perception, wow, people are just terrible and I can't trust them or love them. Critically, I don't think this means keeping people in the dark. The goal isn't to be the one who knows best for the person and be the guardian of their nice little box. In fact, I think that's not even that dissimilar from the Regulus side of things, because there's still a little bit of like that objectification and narcissism there. You just don't want them to get eaten and destroyed while they're figuring it out. This is very interesting but dicey territory. And actually, I was thinking about it with Lust, even though she turned out to be a dragon. Going initially only by her voice, I was thinking there's maybe something forming here with her personality where a lot of men are attracted to that kind of like, let's call it ditziness, for lack of a better word, maybe precisely because of that very thing, with very different reasons based on that split. And this is one of many examples of something where it's so critically important and we know and can feel how significant the virtue is in this area. And so what it attracts is like the falsification and illusion of that virtue. And it can be very difficult initially to separate one from the other. Did you really need to be told to stop smiling? I don't like that. Don't touch my face or my hair. It's too close. She's so nice. Because you didn't. You never did. All the world is his garden, just like Priscilla. Since the whole world is my garden, what do I care if none of my wives want to be my slaves? There we are. She's catching up. Little king. Speaking of birds. Subaru's not coming now. He's busy. It was a good decision at the time. It felt like a strong moral choice in the moment. And now seeing this, like, well, maybe it would have meant a lot for Amelia to just show up immediately. I was so concerned with the question of her physical safety, like whether or not she'll die, because that's been such a major focus of the show. Just from a relationship angle, thinking about my 89 wives, I don't think it would fly very well if like they got kidnapped by another dude and stripped naked. And I was like, I'm sure it'll work out. She'll be okay. I like didn't like every effort to go rescue her, put off her rescuing for other affairs. Oh boy, that would be a fight. This is sort of disheartening because we couldn't even beat those other scrubs. You'd have to use that now. Oh, you did have to use that now. Genius. Did it have to be that one? Damn, that's 2 girls we're putting off saving. The leg just weighs on me. But hopefully the adrenaline reduces the pain. Yeah, he's not feeling pain right now. Also, that was amazing. He just whipped his way into this room. Oh, hi. I guess they had to power crush down a little bit with the memory thing. I feel like season 1 Crush would have made short work of this thing. It was still pretty short work. Was that a pun? Also, earlier, this has to be deliberate, right? Julius's frequent reminders to Subaru about emotional regulation. That was a big focus in the first movie of the season, setting up that Subaru has a gift that needs to be controlled and regulated, or else it runs the risk of being a liability, as we've already seen. I think the path that forms for Subaru is widening his understanding and insight and depth of thinking towards that like very conscious, responsible side that Julius represents, having just so much to balance and juggle, not being impulsive, not being dismissive, not being presumptuous, but also maintaining that spark he has, the spirit of defiance and protection of goodness, and then very consciously and deliberately targeting that as a weapon in exactly the way that is most conducive towards the help that he wants. Subaru taking the best elements of Julius while also maximizing his own great qualities, and Julius sort of doing the same. And in that, it occurred to me that maybe that is the perfect foil for Wrath, who, thinking about it more, we haven't established that she herself has overwhelming dominant power. It could be that the real overwhelming force there is the amplification effect through other people, where it's reverbing and amplifying exponentially. And a potential counter to that would be like individual strength of emotion, among many other ideas that make Wrath's power fascinating. So, I don't really trust Subaru with children. He tends to take their safety for granted. Get her out of here. Get her out of the room. Subaru using a little girl for information. Subaru the little girl user. Oh no. Oh yeah, we were making these. These were the eggs, right? Oh god, this is awful. Oh yeah, I hate this. I hate this. I really hate this, just visually and other things. What? Why? Oh no, the little girl used us. It's her! Alright, there's more than just a dragon. I'd recognize that ba anywhere to think I was worried about her safety. Alright, this is more of the lust that I expected, maybe. He got really good with his whip. Okay. She probably also can heal, right? Oh, it's horrible. I'm confused. She has a dragon, is a dragon, and also has flies. She's a human that can take dragon form. It's pretty cool. And she can shed. Wow. It's actually awesome. Her design is so cool. The shapeshifter. Uh-huh. Okay, this is really cool. Yeah, turn them into... She can shapeshift others. Subaru not impressed with Lust's physical appearances yet because she has yet to show him one with silver hair, which, as we all know, is peak female beauty. Can you imagine being a part of the witches cult, not because you're crazy or evil, but because, like, there's something in their broader corpus that you agree with on an intellectual level as a perfectly reasonable person, but you're forced to be associated with all these crazies? Like, you just agree with the witches cult's overall thing about, like, world politics. You're just living your life, minding your business, and then, like, one of the predominant members of that group is out there turning people into flies or eating people's souls. Yeah, it's terrible. I wonder how the experience would have changed if they weren't flies, if there was some cute animal. Oh, so it's deliberate. Oh wow, we're done. We're done with this one. I'm a philanthropist. Wow, it's charity. I don't know if you know what love is. You may be confusing love with lust. That's the reason. No. No, but also not gonna apologize for my thoughts. Nah, this is... Yeah, you don't need to feel bad about this. Don't get caught by this, Subaru. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about your thoughts. People will try. I think this is one of the reasons why it's important to be honest, which is tough because that itself has a lot of requirements. It's a lot of work to do this correctly, and we don't really do it. First, I think you have to kind of like embrace that these things are complicated and nuanced and cut this catastrophic, oversimplistic, inevitable cause and effect narrative. Like, if you have this thought, that means you will do this thing. If people think this, that's really bad for me. That would be terrible because then I can't get what I want. And so that can't be true when what you want or what you fear has no bearing on whether or not something is true. And also that your conclusions might be wrong. Something you fear can be true, and there are many different ways to get exactly what is best for you in life. Combined with this very common and much farther reaching than this social game where actual goodness is costly and difficult, and so the easier game is like shifting the labels and categories around. And so it becomes this game of like, we assess what are the critical points of ideological adoption, where like enough people believe this thing or don't want to believe this thing and therefore try to enforce it, so that that overall atmosphere becomes the dominant assessment of goodness. And so now we all get to like look at each other and get to score some points when you see someone stepping out of line. And there are maybe real stakes to this, so you don't want to be the one to like say your actual thoughts. And you might also believe, due to that dominant atmosphere, that your thoughts themselves are wrong, or that you are alone in your thoughts, or that they are indicative of the fact that you're a terrible person and are evil. And so it becomes this very weird telephone game of moral enforcement that can drift further and further away from the truth or any actual measure of objective goodness. And so there can be a lot of cognitive dissonance and self-doubt. Maybe it's a lot more simple, like thoughts are going to emerge, and we're animals. We came out of nature through sexual evolution. I think we already sort of know and accept that what we call, or what we think of as the higher elements of humanity, are those things that help us separate somewhat from our impulses, or abstract enough where we can see beyond our immediate impulses. This is already established, so why then do we have to pretend that that side doesn't exist? We already have the scale. You're measured by what you do with those impulses and how you behave, how you act. You're not really made more virtuous by not having dark thoughts or dark impulses. You're made stronger and more valuable by fully embracing and understanding those things and then still doing the best thing. In fact, I would guess you're probably made weaker and worse by just pretending and lying that you don't have impulses and dark thoughts. You become more vulnerable to them. I mean, I'm a human being living in a social world. I would be cautious about saying certain things, obviously. But like internally, I'm not going to feel bad about thinking something. Speaking of things I think that we can eliminate, there's no need to feel guilty for having a thought. No more than you should feel guilty for anything that's out of your control. I mean, did you choose consciously to have a thought? A hot girl walks by you and you're like, today I choose lust. That never happened. That's not how it works. It's difficult to break this cycle and it would take a lot. But I personally think we would be a lot better off if we were just way, way more honest about our thoughts and feelings and base states, and then like also focus on virtue through action, as opposed to trying to pretend that what real virtue is being born as this angelic creatures, separate from nature, perfectly rational, benevolent, totally beholden to some universal lottery, just a random roll of the die of good and bad. And it's our job as the chosen ones to identify and sort the bad ones out. It's another thing to explore, right? Let's just like treat everyone as lowly, base creatures. And then from that starting point, while being very cognizant of your capacity to lose to these impulses and the danger there, to be very connected and committed to higher virtues like being noble, being good, making the best out of the chaos. Oh, do you know? Oh, you know. This'll do it. It's the silver hair for me. Nah, this is simple. Yeah, I mean, he thinks she's hot. That's alright. Oh no, Subaru's twisted. This is very closely related to what I was just saying. It's this oversimplification of categories and way too reductive and insistent causal linking, where like, if you're attracted to me, really you just want me physically. That's all there is. If I admit that the physical is important to me, that means it's all just physical and everyone is just using each other's bodies and there's no capacity for real love. We're all just selfish creatures. So we cannot allow for physical attraction to be an important thing. It's really about the beauty of one's soul. Physical attraction? What is that? I've never heard of it. I'm not that kind of person. I don't think about it. When all that kind of gets eviscerated just by the idea that it can be both at once, that they can be separate or maybe that they're intertwined and that that's okay. It's sort of unpalatable because we want to level the playing field and one's physicality is like less actionable, so there's a temptation to kind of like discard it. But no, if it's a thing, it's a thing. And the good news is it's just one of an infinite number of aspects to life that are important and manageable. I'm not going to be made to feel bad about being physically attracted to someone. I'm not going to be made to feel bad about wanting a sexual relationship with someone. What I will feel bad about is Regulus style, being unethical about that, treating other people as objects, not giving people the respect of humanity and individuality, being selfish, being deceptive, being mean, all the terrible things that are always terrible in anything. It's like if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to pretend that meat doesn't taste good. You don't need that part of it to choose not to eat meat. And then it matters with things like race. People will be like, oh, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. It's like, well, you do. Because you have eyes. Nothing about what you're saying has any bearing on whether or not you can treat people well. Now, I think there is something to her critique, but like many things, once you accept it, it stops to be the evil it initially seems. Like Master Roshi said in Dragon Ball, the truth is only painful if you're trying to protect a lie. That feeling of romantic love and infatuation, that sort of like burning, compulsive, addictive draw to a partner, that probably does largely stem from the physical, and that does kind of feed into your thoughts, and you will come up with a rationale and an assessment for why that person's great. When really, I mean, you may just be attracted. But that's okay. That's its function. And it's also just one aspect of a very, very multifaceted thing, which is relationships. There's also the bond, the camaraderie, the mutual growth from exploring the world together and learning how to compromise, the genuine appreciation for the person's character and core and wanting the best for them, the companionship. And like, a relationship can be many of those things. It can just be one of those things. And that's also fine, as long as we're being honest about what that is and avoiding doing things we already know are terrible anyway. Things like deception, manipulation, stealing, if not physical things, then time and energy, abusing power, meanness, betrayal, etc., etc., etc. Lust is going horribly wrong if her statement, if her big critique is that this is all there is. It's all fake. It's all a bunch of lies. I mean, I can still love her if she's a fly. I just will not. I'm gonna stay on the stool all night. Oh, she's, speaking of being twisted, ripped herself in half. She is deeply disturbed. This sounds like a personal issue. No, the leg finally gave out, huh? She's got a real chip on her shoulder about looks, huh? Wonder where we were set to. No, don't, what are you doing? Don't save us? Oh, we're turning in for something. It was sort of random. One of Subaru's memories is being a dragon. These scrubs that we still can't beat. Are they gonna have any idea that this is someone they know? Wow, man, lust is a lot. A lot. Wow, my head is sort of swimming from that. She's sort of not proving what she thinks she's proving. I know to her it feels like it's a major point, but if you're asking me if I'm going to be physically attracted to a fly, no. Like, we've solved that mystery. Way more interesting is where that comes from in her. My first thought when I saw her shapeshifting was that there was a positive thing here, where actually, like Betelgeuse, she's looking for the virtue through the sin. I'm looking for someone who actually has a noble type of love and filtering by distracting them with like physical beauty, and somebody who can demonstrate actual real deep love despite my power will be impressive. But it actually seems like it's way more cynical and dark, where like she just doesn't think that's possible, and it's kind of revenge. But also in that maybe reveals her own sort of attachment to that very thing. Like, she is purposely taking a visage that is kind of seductive, hits some of those archetypical feminine buttons, and who also is, while claiming to be making a point, eliminating the competition beauty-wise by turning other women into insects and other manner of vile creatures that I'm not sexually attracted to, which kind of leaves only her. She also ends up being a self-owned because she ends up being extremely ugly. It's despicable, because actually it's not the most important thing, it turns out. Where to begin? Which troubling thing? Oh, that's whatever. With all the things going on. I have a troubling piece of information for you. There is a woman who's turning the townspeople into flies. There is a woman who can make everyone die from mass hysteria. There is a dude who has 79 wives, which is just ungodly and unfair. Yeah, maybe you've been sleeping on Anastasia a bit, maybe underestimating. A bit, though I didn't think it was about money. Oh my god! Just stay away from windows from here on out. God, these episodes are just so crazy, it just never stops. Don't... Okay, they seem unaffected so far. Keep independence of spirit. Independence of emotional spirit. They all sure love to introduce themselves. No, she's okay. She's fine. Oh, okay, we'll deal with that later. We'll deal with the ramifications of that later. I feel like she's part of that problem. I don't know. I don't trust her. Because that was the first element we saw of like weird groupthink and group emotion. It's very suspicious that the town seems so infatuated with her song, and that they had that whole conversation about Betelgeuse, and then someone with the last name Romanicanti is next seen manipulating a large crowd. And then we also have the loudspeaking device, which broadcasts the songstress's songs. It all seems tied together. Can he really be that strong? Otto. It's Otto. Otto to the rescue. Speaking of drinking, I was thinking earlier, I wonder if Otto's powers work on, like, transformed humans. The ones that Lust is transforming. That would be a stain on his record. Felt will do that for me. He's sort of a loser. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't feel threatening, really. But I haven't seen him fight. Yeah, I mean, he could be overpowered if he wanted to be. Speaking of overkindness. That's correct. It's the best thing Belt has said this season. Get your head in the game. Be your usual shining self that we all expect. Felt is kind of a weakness for him, it seems. It's weird. Subaru's still alive for seeing this. Okay. That bell 5 seconds before they did this, that was supposed to be sufficient. If Subaru's a dragon, does that count as being alive? I guess it does, right? Oh, what? How did he do that? How did he resist? So many questions. Crush saving him? She still has her cognition? A Dark Torrent. Oh, I'm getting that feel. I'm getting that feeling again that there's a post-credit scene. Yeah, here we go. This escalated quickly. Gonna take this microphone away from her. It's interesting because we have Regulus being the exploiter of that thing, like I said, the seeking of innocence so that it can be consumed. In a way, Lust is kind of on the other side of that, where she's exploiting that archetype. Her demeanor comes off as like innocent and precocious, but actually she's nasty and filthy and anything but innocent. Oh, we got more tomes of wisdom. What are you even asking for? What are you talking about? Okay, no. I mean, that doesn't really change anything because we're not doing any of it. So how about 1,000,000 demands? Why stop at 4? Wow. The darkness and deplorableness of this group, but they're so well done because they all have something. And it's all of them at once, which is just so cool. There's just so many amazing things happening, but it's also overwhelming to me. One overarching idea that maybe fits here is like, I think a lot of things become really nice and have a way of snapping into place when you reverse the scale of evaluation from the world and nature and humanity as an extension are just inherently good. Like we arrive from paradise separate from the rest of the base state of the world. Goodness is the default, and then man, do we really mess it up. Everything is so good and life is so great and we could have everything, but because of some deep and willing corruption in our souls, we reach into the bad and choose to do terrible things and betray our nature. And that's the real evil. And we have to find that and identify all the people who have fallen from this state of perfect grace. Things would be so perfect if it wasn't for them. To the other way of looking at it, which is like the universe is like a cold, dark, uncaring place, and nature does not give a crap about us. Just existence, the fact that things are not nothing, requires such tremendous effort. Any creation, any moment comes at a sacrifice. The base state of the world is atrophy and decay. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is a resting state that all things must return to. Nature and animals are so consumed with the difficulty of this struggle that it doesn't care about any one of its cells. If this animal species dies, or this tree dies, or humanity dies, whatever, that's just the cost of doing business. Sacrifice is going to happen. Nature doesn't care about anything specifically. Definitely not each individual specifically. That's not essential for the survival of the species, or of animal life, or of nature. This is the system we're born into with just terrible danger and cutthroatness. Everyone fighting this weight of death on our shoulders all the time. Constantly struggling, pushing up, trying to move 1 inch at a time with unbelievably powerful incentives to like undermine and corrupt the other person's struggle so that I can struggle less. And yet, despite all of that, we have life and we have society and we have actual good things and moments of beauty. We fight that struggle day after day, generation after generation, to the point where we've regained such solid territory over that natural chaotic state that we have the luxury to even criticize ourselves in our thoughts. We have the freedom even to imagine this hypothetical where we're just born into this Garden of Eden as a natural state and that this is always how it's been. We've fought so well and been so good at it that we've forgotten that the struggle even is a struggle. But maybe because we still want to feel that climb and because we needed to feel like we were doing something and moving up in order to be successful at that very struggle, we then turn our eyes to things we can attack so that we increase our relative standings. And there's always plenty to attack. I mean, the world is not perfect and people are capable of really animalistic based things, which of course they are if you think about it. And yes, physical attraction causes pain and can be uncomfortable and is a difficult issue to deal with because it's not something that is always chosen. But it just is what it is and it's not the end of the world. And it can also end up being a really beautiful thing and it's a wonderful thing about being alive. So like I reject the criticism that my thoughts, my physical desires in themselves, insofar as they exist in my mind, make me a terrible person or make some greater statement about my value as a human being or cast a dark light over my actions. It's important for me to be able to look at those things separately. Given all of that, I don't want to be a contributor to the darkness. And I actually think that like lying about the original state and things that occur naturally actually sort of sets up the recipe for darkness to happen, because you're creating that kind of blindness to the danger that is ever present. Like if you really are looking at your impulses and your desires and you realize, wow, if I acted on that in this situation, that would cause a lot of destruction. You have now hopefully made yourself more resilient to that very thing, not less so by pretending it doesn't exist. I know this is already too zoomed out from this episode, but to zoom out even further, as things exist in your thoughts and emotions, they're kind of pulling from, for our purposes, virtually infinite pool of potential that has both good energy and dark energy. On the more benevolent side of the reading, it's that very noble fight for survival, but inappropriately applied, not accounting for time, being overly selfish, fighting for your own survival while creating greater destruction out there. The more malevolent reading being like just siding with the forces of destruction because of some deep antipathy for the world or people or whatever. And the forces of good, the fight for life, the fight for creation, the desire to make things better, not just for you, but for humanity, not just now, but for all of time. And then with all this potential sort of in this formless state or just occupying you through thought and emotion, you then crystallize that and bear that into fruit with your actions. That is the turning point. And so it's important to kind of like reconcile with the dark forces as well, to know what they are, to see their pull, to know why they're there so that they can be robbed of their fangs. It's not magic. There's a reason for it that probably is good when correctly applied. Just focusing, refocusing, honing in, distinguishing, coloring, and then as Wilhelm says, putting that all behind your sword.